2 days ago, HIMS filed for a mixed shelf offering, and it was somewhat of an unexpected move, right? Because you have this business that has over $200 million in cash, they have zero debt, they're profitable, and yet they're issuing more shares, diluting shareholders. And normally you would think that the stock would be down, but in fact, over the past 2 days, the stock was up 12%. And the reason why is very important. And in this video, I'm going to be covering all the details. So let's jump right in. Okay, so I'll first lay out the news and then we can talk about the trade offs around this move. Personally, I think it's a great move. I talked about it last night on the Bootleg Weekly, but I actually wanted to make a video and cover it a little bit more in depth here. So 2 days ago, on September 9th, HIMS issued 976,000 shares under a mixed shelf offering to Nivagen Pharma, probably pronouncing that wrong, as part of its acquisition for Medisource RX. And this deal is expected to expand HIMS product offerings and market reach. Now, this deal was a mixture of both cash and stock. And immediately off the bat, the bad news here is potential for dilution. So let's stop and break it down for a second, because when a business is issuing new shares, they increase the total float or the outstanding supply of shares out there, thereby diluting existing shareholders. And being a shareholder in HIMS, I really wanted to take a look at the dilution overall, because with a lot of companies that have a similar profile, high growth companies, low market cap companies, generally you'll see a couple of recurring themes. And generally these themes surround the business financial health because they're reinvesting back into their growth. Sometimes the businesses are not profitable. Sometimes they have high levels of debt, both of which problems HIMS doesn't have. But other times they have high levels of dilution or high levels of stock-based compensation. And these are sort of, the four horsemen of high growth stocks, right? So something to look out for is dilution. And in terms of HIMS, I did a very quick check to see where the company is sitting from a dilution perspective. So HIMS has 217 million shares outstanding. This amount has increased by 7% over the past year. And even if we look back over the past 3 years to see how this trend was going, we can see a very consistent theme. In September of 2021, they had 203 million shares outstanding 3 years ago. And today they have 217 million shares outstanding, which is a 7% increase. Generally, I'm not worried about this because the company is still reinvesting to scaling faster and capturing more market share. This is good. This is what we want to see because this is what propels that high level of growth rate. And particularly the reason why I'm not really concerned about this is because HIMS is buying back shares. They've done buybacks in the past, and recently they approved about $100 million worth of buybacks over the next 3 years. And so that's the piece that I think is positive because they're buying back these shares as they're issuing new shares to keep the dilution level low. And I think the reason why this is strategic is because the company is choosing to do cash and stock mix. They could have just bought this thing outright in the cash that they have, but why would you take that big of a dent in your cash pile? It's really important to have that flexibility to have cash on hand for this business because it allows them more maneuverability in terms of what they might want to do around the corner. And given that they have approval for a $100 million buyback over the next 3 years, it's actually a strategic move to have a portion of this deal be in stock, because if that stock falls a little bit further, then they can just buy back that stock in the open market. And by doing that, they can remove that dilution and essentially be printing money, right, at these issued shares. Because if they're issuing the shares at a certain valuation, as the stock falls, they're buying back those shares at a lower valuation. And that difference is just them having a gain for it, right? So that's a negative around this move, primarily the fact that it's dilutive. And now that we've covered the company's plan as to how they're going to combat that dilution going forward with regards to the buybacks, let's actually talk about why the stock is up 12% over the past 2 days and why it's been going up since. I want to put up a post by HIMS CEO who on X said, quote, "As we continue to expand the breadth of personalized solutions that we offer, we expanded our pharmacy operation capabilities through our acquisition of Medisource RX, a 503B outsourcing facility in California. Welcome to the team." So this links out to a news post that HIMS themselves put out. It's titled "Building Our Pharmacy Operations with a Customer in Mind." This was posted 2 days ago. Now, this post, I read through it. I highlighted some of the main takeaways here. They argue that offering a personalized experience requires innovation. It includes investing in pharmacy operations as a scalable infrastructure that makes this more accessible to individuals. Now, we know that about 800,000 members subscribe to personalized solutions and that this is their fastest growing member segment of their total 1.9 million members. And this segment of personalized solution is the cornerstone of my bull case because it builds around their moat. So HIMS has a 503A compounding facility in Ohio and in Arizona, and this allows them to tailor their solutions, such as adjusting dosages, removing allergens, or combining different medications into a single form factor. They highlight that across both those locations, Ohio and Arizona, they have a team of more than 70 pharmacists and 150 technicians at these facilities. Now, these 503A pharmacies are regulated by the FDA, and now the acquisition of Medisource RX, they're expanding into a 503B facility out in California. So this 503B facility is why this acquisition is important, and it's what's going to help them scale. But first, very quickly, let's just establish what is the difference between an A and a B facility. Just by doing a quick search, we can see some of the descriptions around the classifications, saying that a 503A compounding facility accommodates patient-specific prescriptions, but is not permitted to distribute for office use, nor are they permitted to compound large batches of product. A 503B, by contrast, is permitted to manufacture large batches of product and can also be sold to healthcare facilities for office administration. 503B is held to higher manufacturing standards, which are the same regulations followed by big pharma. So, really, here, the operative term is scale, as these 503B facilities allow much larger batches. Now, this news release from HIMS continues saying, quote, the additional facility gives us the ability to continue to deliver on sterile compounded products like GLP-1 injections as we continue to expand our specialties, introduce access to new sterile compounded products in the coming years. So we know that new sterile compounded products are coming and that this 503B facility is crucial to that mission. So here there's a couple of pieces to tie together. Of course, this is a business that's investing into their infrastructure so as to scale more rapidly and providing personalized solutions at a much larger level with this new California facility. However, it's also important to keep in mind where they are with regards to their product roadmap. Right now, a big catalyst for the business is the GLP-1 market for weight loss solutions, which JP Morgan recently put out a note saying that by 2030, they expect this weight loss market to reach $120 billion in US sales alone, highlighting that oral therapies are going to be playing an increasingly important role. So if HIMS is going to be a serious player in the weight loss game, they need to be able to meet that demand. They need to be able to expand and scale effectively. Then in addition to this, the other consideration is with regards to new product offerings and new verticals they want to expand into. And I want to just break down a post by Manuel here because I think it hit the nail on the head with regards to this move. He touches on the GLP-1 solutions, adding that this was the fastest segment for HIMS to reach $100 million in annual run rate. In addition, this move helps launch new categories in the future that require sterile medications at scale, such as what the 503B facility unlocks. And there's an interesting point here, right? Because we know that these are markets that HIMS has wanted to expand into, and now they finally have the facilities to do that. And so I expect more products to be coming out over the next couple of quarters that are only possible through this 503B facility. And finally, the third point here highlighted in this post is that this move is essentially a first step in vertically integrating the supply chain and then lowering the margin. So essentially, by investing into their infrastructure, they are vertically integrating their manufacturing process, thereby building a deeper moat in providing a frictionless experience to existing customers. And this is something that I learned early on investing in Tesla, is that the vertical integration in the supply chain is a differentiating factor in itself, because not only does it contribute to the margins positively, but it also contributes to the rate at which a business is able to scale, because you're not dependent on third parties for anything. So overall, this move, I think, was necessary for the business to accelerate their growth. Of course, the market takes notice of this. The market is forward-looking. They can see the forest for the trees. Since the news broke 2 days ago, the stock has been up into double digits. I think we're going to see a lot more growth from this company moving forward as their product roadmap continues to expand into new verticals as a result of this manufacturing facility. And ultimately, this is all going to translate into their income statement, into their financials. As for myself, I'm still actively adding to my position. I'm going to be doing so more during the dips. I want to build this position to be much larger in my portfolio. Right now, I've added twice. I've added once in the $15 range. I've added once in the mid $14 range. And even if the stock price keeps going up, I'm not opposed to buying more, because HIMS is like a $3 billion business, yet their 2024 revenue projections have them at 1.37 to 1.4 billion in revenue. So it's like a 2 price to sales ratio. So I still think it's a fairly cheap valuation to be buying this stock that's growing 50% year over year. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Of course, if the stock falls further, I'm going to be adding more aggressively to my position in much larger chunks in a pursuit to build this up to be a larger percentage of my portfolio. But, anyways, let me know what you think of this news in the comments below. I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.